Our t-shirted protagonists, Silicon Valley free thinkers, not encumbered by advertising orthodoxy, dismissed this magical thinking and brought a fresh empirical approach and scientific rigor and reformed the discipline of advertising with pure reason. Beautiful ads, they said, beautiful ads for beauty's sake are wrong, said these pioneers of the new advertising. Why, they added, create mass market myths when we can use algorithms to understand people's every want and every need? Why use alchemy and guesswork, they asked, when we can get the right information to people at exactly the right time? Marketers rejoiced. They finally knew, after a century of asking, which half of their advertising they had been wasting. CMOs kept their jobs for more than 2 years at a time. There was money left over to house the homeless, to feed the hungry, and to educate the downtrodden. People everywhere were happier. Children no longer begged their parents for Uggs if what they needed were simply warm, fuzzy boots. Middle-aged husbands no longer craved high-powered Maseratis when really all they needed was basic transportation. Our heroes from Silicon Valley were duly rewarded with the lion's share of advertising expenditures for the empirical efficiency they brought at long last to advertising. The long-sought digital advertising utopia was finally a reality. And if you believe that, you've been watching too many Harlem Shake videos. Far from being in a new age of advertising enlightenment, I worry that we are entering a new dark ages of advertising. We assert that we are bringing science at long last to advertising and marketing. But what if we are merely bringing bad science to our industry, the way leech bleeders and phrenologists brought bad science to the practice of medicine in centuries past? This is what predominates in our medium. And like it or not, this is how consumers and major advertisers view us. Now, over the entire history of advertising, each new medium actually improved the craft, with agencies and publishers being able to use the new tools to enhance the advertising experience to both the benefit of the consumer and the marketer. Print ads were better than flyers. Radio took the written word off the page and gave it a voice.
See the USA in your Chevrolet. America is asking you to call.
Television brought sight, sound, and motion and turned advertising into a form of miniature cinema.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves.
Unfortunately, and we're among friends and family, so I can be candid with you, this progression has stalled with the advent of digital advertising. Yes, we've created more and more screens, but we've crowded those screens with more and more ad clutter than ever before. If we don't change, we risk disenfranchising consumers, damaging marketers, and putting many of the people in this room out of business. To talk in the language of many of you in this room, many of whom are engineers, we have created an efficiency spiral to a Pareto optimal world. It's a zero-sum game where any gain is offset by another loss. In this world, the system does not expand, it actually shrinks, and there is no value creation. It's a world of rational expectations and perfect information. And in it, we are constantly moving to the economic point whereby goods and services are perfectly priced and optimally allocated, and where margin simply doesn't exist. And that margin for marketers is what funds not only their businesses, but our businesses as well. More than that, it doesn't only fund businesses, it funds much of civilized society. As the sociologist Thorstein Veblen astutely pointed out more than a century ago, the conspicuous consumption that undergirds American capitalism has been the reason people join book clubs, go to the theater, and patronize museums. A perfectly efficient economy would have no brands, and it would have no culture either. An ability to maintain a sustained margin in business, as you have heard me say many, many, many times in the past, is the core definition of a strong brand. And that is the business that we must be in. Our very survival as an industry depends on our ability to help marketers build and maintain strong brands, and in doing so, to expand the marketing ecosystem. Brand advertising is how this system expands.